being Canadian, hockey's like religion to us. And I just grew up playing it, and there was so much hockey I needed to change. I'm kind of a perfectionist, and I couldn't perfect golf, so it was like more of a frustration, determination thing, and then I was already hooked.
She's very, very good.
Extremely good.
Very, very good. The shots that she can pull off is amazing. Her ball striking is at the level of a LPGA Tour player.
I mean, if it's not really good, it's not good enough for Jenna.
We haven't seen the best of her, I really believe that.
Which is a really scary thought, because what we've seen of Jenna Hague is a MAC championship.
That round was probably the most exciting round of my life.
And world rankings.
Great news, Coach. Jenna cracked the top 10 in the Canadian amateur rankings. But don't tell her. Well, sure enough, the next day she's like, hey, I got a retweet from so-and-so in Canada, said I'm in the top 10, and at that moment I realized you can't hide anything.
Especially Hague. Not anymore. The Cardinals junior heads to Oklahoma this week, just the third MAC individual ever selected to an NCAA Regional, the third seed in Stillwater.
This doesn't happen every year, not even close.
The pressure of knowing that I was in contention for regionals down the stretch was unlike any pressure I've ever felt in anything. It was borderline terrifying.
Because Hague knew back in the fall, regionals wasn't just a possibility, it was a likelihood.
It's like, okay, I have to keep that going. I have to keep the momentum. I have to shoot these rounds. And you get to a point where you're like, okay, well, if I don't win this tournament, my head-to-head wins, I'm losing to people who aren't ranked as high as I am.
Trying to defend, whether it's your best round or whatever, sometimes the hardest thing to do, versus again going out and just playing golf and allowing the results to take care of themselves. But for Jenna, that's hard.
It's all really a remarkable position for somebody who truly is fairly new to golf.
My first real tournament was the summer before my recruiting summer. So I only really had one summer to kind of get my feet on the ground and learn what tournament golf was all about.
The answer? Streaky.
I relied heavily on my ball striking, and I didn't have a very good short game. And quickly I realized that day in and day out, you need to be able to rely on your short game.
And your networking ability. Late to the game, colleges weren't on Hague's trail like they were many others. So at an amateur qualifier at Purdue, of all places, the Burlington, Ontario native went looking for a head coach from her hometown, Ball State's Catherine Moen.
I knew of her because my swing coach back home in Canada was her swing coach when she was at Louisville in Iowa. So then when I saw her after, I was like, I'm going to go say hi, I'm going to introduce myself. Because I had heard lots of stories from my swing coach about her, and I had heard that she was at Ball State, and it was one of those things that it was like, why not? Why not go say hi? Nothing bad is going to come from it.
And what's funny about that tournament is it wasn't just about Hague seeking out Moen. You see, the Cardinals coach also wanted to see Hague, and she did early on. She just didn't know it at the time, thanks to a good old-fashioned typo.
And I saw her name and it said Burlington, Ohio, or OH. And I thought, that's weird. I've never heard of Burlington, Ohio. And I thought a Burlington, Ontario girl was supposed to be playing in the field, so I watched her and I remarked how good I thought her swing was, but I just didn't think it was her.
I don't know if I would be at Ball State if I, in that split second, wasn't walking by her and stopped and introduced myself.
Hague didn't play her best that tournament, admittedly inconsistent. But Moen saw potential. Hague committed. And then a funny thing happened. She was great.
So her very first tournament was Illinois State, and she lost that tournament by a stroke. And we watched the playoff between two other golfers, and she was not happy watching that playoff.
I was so surprised with my fall season, and I was so motivated in the off season to just get even better. And then came out in the spring season and tanked.
She averaged an 82 her first 10 spring rounds, but built herself back up, ending at the MAC championships.
I mean, I was 7 shots back going in the final round. It was fun. It was a nice, I played a little game of how close I could get to the leaders.
7 back, 6 back. It was one hole at a time where she just saw kind of the tables turning.
You don't think about winning. You think, I want to play as good of golf as I can, and if something crazy happens, something crazy happens.
Oh, something crazy happened on the par 3 15th.
Hit a very solid 4-iron off the tee, see it land on the green. That's fine with me. Green in regulation, I'm fine. Turn away, people start screaming, it's in the hole. So that was my first hole-in-one ever, and I didn't get to see the ball go in the hole.
part of a comeback that saw Hague win the MAC in a playoff and then take off. She also made the difficult decision to change swing coaches, the original tie between her and Ball State.
He kind of adopted the motto of you can only take an athlete so far. You take an athlete so far and then eventually they need to move on. And that's kind of the point that we got to. I owe him so much, but it was tough.
Emotionally, but also in a golf sense, because her new coach, Prairie View's John Hoover, helped rebuild her swing.
For a lot of good players, that's very difficult to accept. But it was pretty confident in some of the things she needed to do, and she was willing, and I think it's paid off.
Hague's now won a MAC record 6 times and ranked as high as the number 16 amateur in the world, setting the stage for her biggest college tournament yet, this weekend's NCAAs.
I expect to learn a lot. I expect to be very fascinated by the environment.
But she's got to keep it in perspective. Play golf. And if she plays golf, the result will take care of itself.
I mean, the reality is there's nothing to prove because just by getting the bid, her work has been proven. And there's nothing to lose. We know that Jenna, when she's at her best, can pretty much compete with anyone.
Which can only make you wonder, after this weekend, what's next?
I know I still am nowhere close to where I want to be, and I'm really excited for the summer and to be able to continue to work hard and reach some new goals.
Joel Godet for BallStateSports.com.